Comment tu vas?
Yeah, je vais bien, je vais bien. So I'm
Très
good,
bien, très
and
bien.
thanks for asking. And yeah, I had a very good day, and so
That's
a
good.
day where I was thinking about this moment, and
Oh yeah?
yeah, and
It got you through all the work?
sorry,
It got you through all your work?
yeah, yeah, and I had in mind every time this moment, but it's okay. Yeah. So what about you?
Um, I've been doing pretty well. Yeah, this morning was just uh school stuff, working on exams are coming up in the next couple weeks, so I was just trying to get through all that, but but now that we're done that, I'm definitely more excited for this part of the day.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand. So I remember my past life at school. So
Yeah. And you were
it was,
studying engineering, right?
yeah, yeah, engineering, electrical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end, I specialized on telecommunication.
Mm.
And yeah, it was a very good moment, but a very tough moment
Yeah.
because, yeah, I had to do a lot of things. And, but some of them I really liked doing them. So, yeah, it was very good. But the only thing I didn't like is the homeworks,
Yeah.
and it was not a funny thing. So yeah, I'm really happy to not
yeah,
having them for the moment. Yeah,
no, I bet. It's like anything, right? There's pros and cons. There's good parts to it, but I think a lot of times when you're studying in the school, it does feel that um all the homework is just unnecessary. You're like, "Oh, why can't I just learn this topic and then move on?" But I guess they need to test and make sure that you are understanding stuff, so makes sense.
yeah, 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 yeah. Of course, after you know, for example, I had this course. It was a geopolitical stuff. So
Okay.
that it was very really interesting, but I'm a technical guy, so and so I really liked having a technical thing to do, and now that's really helped me understanding the world, how countries interact together. So yeah, so now I can understand how important this
Mm.
course was. So yeah.
Yeah, especially with what you're kind of doing now, like with some of your plans and stuff, it is kind of interesting. There's definitely a geopolitical element to that, right?
Yeah, 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 sure, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So there is,
So,
as I said last time, yeah. So that kind of project, required a lot of knowledge, so that I don't have for the moment. So yeah,
yeah.
technical thing, and sometimes also emotional things.
Mm,
It's really important when you work with people, and
yeah.
yeah, there is a lot. I think
Yeah, and I
that's
think a lot of times people, like some people might be more inclined towards technical elements, like, you are studying engineering and a lot of people in the STEM fields think more that way, and other people think more maybe emotionally. I mean, they're both very important. I think the truly important thing is to combine them together and use all the elements. Look at things technically, but also realize that it's not only about the technical side. You also have to understand the
yeah,
emotional
yeah,
side.
yeah, yeah, sure. Because your job technically you are doing is the result you want to have will be used by people, so
Mm.
somehow you need also to know how people will interact with your solution, and yeah, so everything are important, of course, as you said, in this
Mm.
in that kind of project.
And it probably goes a long way in the engineering field as well, having an ability to relate to people, right? Because a lot of engineers are, um, let's say the stereotype is they're not as good at communicating emotionally with people. So if you're good at that,
Yeah, yeah, that's I was at the beginning, when I just started my work, and I really liked working alone, because
mm,
when you have something in mind and you like to be focused on the on that thing. So, but very early I realized that uh, my what I have to do is a part of a big project, you know.
Mm,
And so interacting with other people was something very very important.
mm,
So that pushed me in a way that I had to, you know, develop some uh, skills, you know, in order to you know how to speak to people, and
mm.
you know, basic things, you know, basic social things. And that's yeah, it was very weird, you know, when you start your as when you finish your student life, you know, and you have to start as a worker now. And and sometimes the integration is a bit difficult.
Bumpy.
But
A
yeah,
bit of a bumpy
but
ride.
yeah, but that's a, you know, that's a point of your life that you can't really avoid. So yeah,
Yeah,
you don't
it
have
see.
choice. Yeah,
I mean, people more and more are trying to, just keep going to school and getting more and more degrees. But at the end of the day, I think it's like a balance of being educated and valuable enough that you can do something really useful in society, but also um, actually applying those things. And you learn so much more on the job of
yeah,
doing
sure, sure.
things. So you can't just only have brain knowledge and never use it, right?
Yeah, so because yeah, because usually, you know, what you learn at school, it's in French it's théorique. I think in English the word is
Theoretical,
theoretical.
theoretical,
Yeah,
yeah.
and sometimes yeah, you really need to know how to integrate this knowledge, you know, these skills in a real life. And
Mm,
yeah, spending your time at school is not a very good things, you know. I know people that they are like 31
mhm.
years old and they are still at school, you know, doing a PhD. But you know, I understand that you like school, you like learning things, but I think there is a time you have to stop. But
Yeah.
that's my opinion. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
opinion. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's some value in having some people who have, PhDs and lots of education. But if everyone has PhDs, then no one's going to be, actually in the workforce making things happen. So I think as you said, the innovation and working is about being, you know, able to move beyond the theoretical into the experimental, right? Like lots of
yeah, 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 sure.
the best innovators don't necessarily have a ton of degrees.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Because to bring innovation, you have to know what exactly you have to bring. You know, so if you want to innovate in maybe in telecommunication field, so you have to know how people interact with your project, and you have to know how. Yeah, so what exactly this parameter you have to improve, you know, and
Mm,
but you don't learn that things being at school. And yeah, you have to be on the field
yeah. In
to
your
get
experience,
ice.
yeah, yeah. In your experience, moving away from a technical background of like studying in university engineering and then telecommunications, and then moving into the field, what are the most surprising things that you didn't expect to find in that transition?
um hmm, um I don't know exactly. I don't have thoughts about maybe uh, I will have something to say about it, but yeah, right now I don't have
Okay, yeah.
something in mind.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Maybe we'll
yeah,
just maybe then you can just talk a little bit while you're kind of thinking about some of the transition differences and maybe uh, lessons that you learned from that. While you're thinking about that, maybe you could talk just a little bit about what exactly it is that you do, so that people who are listening to this can hear a little bit about what your role is right now in the telecommunication fields, because you're working in Switzerland right now
yeah.
and you have a new job. So I think it's kind of exciting. Maybe talk a little bit about that. first?
Yeah, and so I started working, for example, to just to speak about my work experience. I started working 4 years ago, and it is, as I said, it was something that's really very tough. It's very good, a very good experience at the beginning. It is still a very good experience, of course. And why what I didn't expect it, for example, and in the at the beginning is, at school you have people that can help you doing things. For example,
Mm.
I had some comrades and some colleagues that could help me, doing some works that's have been asked by the teachers, for example.
Okay.
But on the field, I didn't find that's helping.
Mm.
I don't know how
Like
to say
there
that.
was no teacher to help if you had a
Yeah,
problem, you
so
had to figure it out yourself.
yeah, it's not exactly a teacher. It's not. It's like um, a kind of assistant. Someone
Okay.
that's which someone who is here just to help you in something. And I found that people were very busy every time.
Mm.
So you had to do your best to do the work that your manager expected you to do, and no matter the skill you have to do that work, so you had to do you had to do your best on finding the good information, and in
Mm.
order to bring a solution rapidly. And that's was and sometimes, during this transition, I remember that at school, for example, you could have if you find something, you have this thing is in this book, so maybe it's in the first page, sorry, or the last one, but it's in the book. But in the
The
real
answer.
life, yeah, when we ask you something, so you have no idea sometimes what the answer is.
And
So you
sometimes
have
maybe they ask you because they don't know what the answer is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I had a lot of experience like this also, because so yeah, I thought that's, the manager was so busy that he
Mm.
didn't have time, to take care of the question of the issue. But
Yeah.
yeah, rapidly I noticed that he didn't know. That's why he asked me to to have to find some answer, and yeah, so
Yeah.
that's helped me growing rapidly, and being and how to say that,
More efficient.
autonomous,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
more efficient
Yeah,
and
by yourself.
autonomous
Yeah.
also, yeah. Yeah, finding things by yourself, yeah. And now that's that's show me how the real world, I mean the world of work. I mean how it works, and
Yeah.
how to manage with that. And
That's
very well,
really oh, that's
yeah,
that's really interesting with what you were mentioning about the difference between an education, kind of a theoretical knowledge of something, and then in the workplace, how you actually have to solve problems that matter. And that's super, like, I don't know if you're taking calculus or physics or chemistry or something, you look at the textbooks and it's just all these questions that they already know the answer to, and they're more like stereotypical questions, where it's like you
yeah,
learn the rules and then you answer the questions. So there's not a lot of problem solving that's really required, whereas in the real world it's all about problem solving.
yeah,
So I think
that's
that's just an interesting difference.
yeah. And sometimes what can be very hard also, it's in a book at school. When you solve a problem, the problem is solved. And in the real life, when you solve a problem, you have to keep in mind that you found another one. another problem, So
Now you have
yeah,
to actually
and
make it.
yeah, so voilà, giving an answer to a problem, that's you find another one. So as you said, yeah, the real life is dealing with problems. Only that, yeah. But it's fun also when you like what you are doing.
Yeah, that's really important, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it and you don't like it, a lot of people go into like some of the people at least that I know who go into the more technical fields like science, technology, mathematics. Sometimes they just do it because of the pay, because on average it pays a little better, and the mentality, like, oh, I'll just get through and then I'll get a good job. But it's the same thing. You're gonna have to do that for the rest of your life. But people who really like it, it's not work as much. It's more fun, I think.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Because one day, maybe if you have something very well paid, and something that's, you can have a good feeling also with the field, but one day we this will be boring, and
Mm.
you will have to go. And the problem is, for these people, when you stay in a position for a long period, so changing that position is very, very difficult. You know,
Mm.
and if you, I don't know, if you, for example, for me, what I'm doing here, if I don't do some certificates, I mean some training session, I stay here for like 10 or 15 years. When I will have to change my position, because you have to change, because the world now is changing. So you
Mm-hmm.
have also personally change, you have to change also. And when you will
Mm.
have to make that decision, that will be very hard for you. And the thing is that your personal life is changing, and you're getting married, you are having children, and but your professional life is not changing.
Mm.
Normally the change has to come in in uh, in in the old fields, the
Yeah.
personal one and the professional one, in order to keep you in in a position where you think about changing every time. And
Yeah.
for example, when I started this position, when I worked for the first time, I really understood that I will have to change. I will have to have a lot of training session.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's
A different
minor
kind of
set.
approach, right? Like you
Yeah,
went into it knowing that you were going to change.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas if
yeah,
you
yeah,
went in thinking I'm going to be here for 20 years, you would have just approached it differently.
yeah, yeah, sure. And that's what bring me to Switzerland today. For
Mm.
example, for my first job, I stayed there for like just 1 year, and the
So
other 1 year and a half.
you were working in Paris before, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
then just this last year was the first year that you moved to your job in
to
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what motivated me to change is the work I was doing, and I really felt that yeah, I mean, you know, 5 years later, if I so for the moment, if I was still in this position, I will do the same thing. So yeah, I said,
Mm.
so okay, so I have to change now, and I changed, and it was the same situation. I changed also again, but every time I change, I improved my level, my technical level,
Because you
and
got
also,
exposed to more different types
yeah,
of
of course,
problems. Mm.
yeah, and and now, what I have in Switzerland, sometimes people told me, usually you have to have a 10 years of experience, work experience, to have what you have now. So that's very good, you have it now. Yeah, I know. I bring myself to a position to be in that situation.
Because
That's
you work really hard and try different things, and we live in a fast-paced world, like you said before. It's not the same as it was 20 years ago even. You know, people
Yeah,
used
yeah,
to work 10 years, but now they're looking for people who are innovative and fast solutions and stuff, right?
yeah, sure. And I like my job here, and so I don't know when I will have to move, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like doing things that really matter to me, that I really
Mm.
like. And I'm also um, not an entrepreneur, because not a businessman, because
Hmm. A
I
business
don't
yet.
have a big business yet. So I have a small, really small business, and
But you're an entrepreneurial thinker, like the way that
yeah, yeah,
your
yeah,
brain works. And ever since
and
I've known you,
yeah. So
you've been very as you said before, interested in learning and in trying different things, you know? So a
yeah,
lot of people just want to do one thing, and that's really cool as well, but you've definitely been someone who thinks, how do I combine these different parts of what I'm good at or what I'm interested in into a more synergistic or together kind of thing.
yeah, sure. I have I like, experience new things, and I like also discover. I don't know if my English is very clear for that point, but yeah.
It's good, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
I
yeah,
understand it.
okay. I think that's people who are listening also, they understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
I hope.
definitely. Hopefully.
Yeah,
No,
and
I think everyone will be good.
okay, thanks. Yeah, so as I said, I like also, I would like to do business,
Hmm.
and that's why I have in mind some business ideas that I would like to start, but I don't know yet when exactly why I will start these ideas, but some of them, I studied some of them, and
Hmm.
but in a very small scale,
Yeah.
and not yeah, and
And for people who are listening, Joseph has, I mean, right now he's working in telecommunications, but he has, we've talked about this quite a few times about how he has a desire to, in a way, invest and create opportunity for innovation in Haiti, which is where he was born and lived for the first few years of his life. And so that's kind of what he's talking about with his business element a little bit. And so maybe I'll just start by asking a more direct question about the project that you're starting to work on. And that, let's just start by asking, what exactly is the project, and what have you done so far?
yeah. So basically, what you have to keep in mind about this project is it's an environmental um, where people can bring innovation, you know,
In Haiti?
and in Haiti, yeah, and the innovation can,
But people are afraid to invest there, right? Because of different
yeah, that's
geopolitical
yeah,
reasons.
that's the challenge, yeah, and
Hmm.
that's why I think the local people has to adopt that's the philosophy I want to bring there first.
Mm.
Then of course the people in the diaspora will adopt this one, and
And
maybe that people.
right now, the problem is, one of the problems is that a lot of people who live in Haiti just want to move away from Haiti because there's not a lot of opportunity there, right?
Yeah, that's the problem now, and I think sometimes, when you're in that in a situation, so you don't really see opportunities, because
Mm.
your mind is not in peace, so you have to be careful every day about things that you think that are dangerous, so
Mm.
you don't really see opportunities that are around you. And so, being I lived there for 13 years. So when I left Haiti, It was on 2005, and so sometimes I have spent more time outside Haiti than inside. So yeah,
Yeah.
and so when I left for my first time, I was in this in the plane, as I told you last time, and I watched through the window, and I said to myself, or maybe to Haiti, I don't know who exactly I was with whom I was talking, but
Hmm.
I said, yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back because I know that
I
I
love
had an
that.
opportunity. Yeah, I had an opportunity to live and to have some experience, to have some knowledge, and now I have them. I have some of them, I would say, and I know I have the responsibility to share this knowledge, this experience I have in the in the Western world,
Hmm.
and so these experience are these following. For example, the experience I have in the telecommunication field.
Hmm.
So some technical things that I can share. I also can share my love for the for the investment, for the business, and
Hmm.
so with all of this thing, I yeah I want to create an environment, yeah, where people can bring change. I want to show people what we have as valuable things in Haiti.
Hmm.
I mean physical things, or just or unphysical things, and
Cultural and yeah.
yeah, cultural, for example, because we have a very rich culture and
Yeah.
a very rich history, and sometimes, when people uh, talked about Haiti, that's it's only about bad things, but if I want to speak about France using bad things, you can find also. It's the same for USA, Canada, and
Yeah.
every countries. And every countries, have very very good things
To offer.
to offer. So
Hmm.
as Haiti, and
Yeah, I think that's really
uh,
interesting too, because it is totally true that if you look at something only from a bad point of view, or like you only point out the negative aspects, I think people don't do this intentionally, but what they're doing is they're painting a whole country or a whole like area with a negative brush, like people don't want to go there and they don't want to invest there because people just talk about, oh, this is a poor country and there's crime and there's this and there's that. But you know even sometimes when things get a lot better, like countries that no longer have very high rates of crime or are no longer very poor, people still sometimes think that they're dangerous because of how they've been painted in the past. So I think
yeah,
we have to be
that's yeah.
careful not to only point out negative aspects of places.
Yeah, that's the problem. And as you said, yeah. And for example, to bring an example, we have now some problem with with gangs. And
In
when
Haiti? In
you
Are you
yeah
talking about in Haiti particularly?
yeah in
Okay.
Haiti,
Mhm.
and where we have this problem with these gangs, it's in how to say, let's say it's a small part of PowerPoints.
Okay.
You know, PowerPoint is it's the capital.
Yeah.
PowerPoint is the capital, and PowerPoint is a small part of Haiti. Let's say just maybe 5%. I think it's less. It's 5% of the whole territory.
Okay.
And the this street where we have these problems is not 10% of PowerPoints. It's very small. So this place where we have this problem is very, very, very small compared to the whole territory. But
Mm.
now, when you talk to about people to Haiti, they said, you have gang violence there, you have a lot of problems there, but it's a tiny
And
place
and I
where we
think
have this.
the other thing too is that can happen in like that situation, from my understanding of history and stuff, that exists in a lot of places. And in
Yeah,
some countries like you said, people say it's dangerous and they use it as an example. But then there's other countries, and Brazil's an example that comes to mind, where you have Rio de Janeiro, and then um, you have like as English we say the city of God, which is like really close to it, and this
Yeah,
very
yeah.
crime-ridden, dangerous place. So it's like it's only a very 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 small spot, but people would still go to Rio de Janeiro to travel, but
That's crazy.
they wouldn't go to Port-au-Prince, as you say. So it's very
Yeah,
strange.
because it's dangerous, you know. That's
Yeah.
that you know sometimes that's funny, and that's yeah. I think that's sad. Yeah, of course, because that's you realize that people um, when they want to know about a place or about anything, and they yeah they use the same they have the same reference, you know. So
Mm.
in this reference, if
They
you
just
don't
paint
have
the
a
whole thing as
yeah
one point.
yeah
Yeah.
and so yeah so basically I want people, you know, to know, and that's my Haiti is different. Yeah.
Yeah. And would you say like when you're talking to someone or like giving advice to people who travel, because in my experience, it seems that just educating yourself about like honestly educating yourself, and yes, you should look at what parts are dangerous and what parts are less dangerous. Like I think if people did that, maybe there would be less fear to travel places, because they would look and they would say, yeah, Haiti, there are parts that aren't safe, like you said, that particular area, don't go there, but you can still go
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
country, you just don't go to that exact spot, or if you do go to that spot, be very careful, kind of idea. So what kind of advice would you give to people um to have less misinformation with traveling to places that are deemed scary?
Yeah, yeah. So for example, when I go to the French uh, government,
Hmm.
and when they advise the people when if they want to go to Haiti, and they say that this country is in red, you know,
It's dangerous.
that's yeah, it's really dangerous. So I think, for example, as a French guy, you know, if you see a French guy, so he he will go directly in the website of the government to know, okay, if is
Mm,
this place safe. Oh, okay, so my government say that it's not safe. Okay, I won't go there. And if I ask a Haitian, so of course it is his country. Maybe yeah, he will tell me that of course it is safe. You know, some place or safe or not. But so I don't know who exactly I have to trust. You know,
mm,
and so giving advice to people about this, I think it's very very difficult, because at the
mm.
end you don't exactly know, you know, you will I will just be someone with another guy
With a
with
bias against it,
advice.
right?
Yeah, that's just that. What I can do, for
Mm.
example, is to give some I think some um, example, you know, to preach by example. And what I can do, for example, I can go there with a camera, you know, doing my trip, a normal trip, you know, and having proof, for example, and bring them to YouTube as an example, you know, bringing
Okay.
them then to YouTube and to I don't know any broadcast website,
Yeah.
and that's people can see. Yeah, exactly. So what is going on there, you know,
Because there's lots
and
of travel videos to countries like Thailand or the Philippines, which also have their fair share of violence in select areas, but there might
yeah,
not be as much in Haiti. Like I know I haven't seen as much from Haiti. Like I've known people who've gone to Haiti, but like I don't know people who, travel there very often just for vacation. It's not as common.
yeah, and yeah, yeah, and so one of project we have in the idea we have in this big project is also to yeah, to bring another image from about Haiti, and to speak to people, to give the right information, you know, to people,
Hmm.
in order to for them to know that yeah, but it's not maybe the, that dangerous, you know. it's maybe a place that I can, of course, visit, but it's not. I have to warn people that it's not a place. I mean, made for tourism,
Hmm.
because we don't have a lot of tourism infrastructure,
Hmm.
because there is no investment, doing
Yeah.
in this in this field. And
So
usually when people go there is to go to see their family. And so, if for example, if you want to go, you can come with me. I have my family, I have my house there. And
absolutely.
yeah, going yeah, one day, of course, one
Of
day we
course.
will go there and I will
That
show
sounds
you
like so
how
much
beautiful
fun.
it is.
I want to go.
Yeah. Sure.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so that's and you have also hotels where you can go. There was I think it's not Los Angeles, it's
Hmm.
Haiti, but you can manage it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you think that investing in the tourism section and building, as you say, more tourist infrastructure is that part of your goal, not with your project or just in general?
It's having a good economical environment is something very big, because
Yes.
the economy is made of a lot of activities. And the thing is, what we want to do is to bring an economical environment very safe, so that these people that will do the tourism thing, will that the people that will build
Travel.
hotels and that
Yeah.
will travel,
Hmm.
and so we have to make sure they have the things they need. For
Mm.
example, um, if in the south of Haiti, for example, if people don't want to go to power plants because it's dangerous,
Hmm.
I get it, I can understand that. If you want to go to the south, in the south of the to the if you want to go to the south, yeah,
The south, yeah, the
of the
south side.
country.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I just said
To this
you're right. The south, yeah.
okay. Yeah, to the south. And yeah, you need, for example, you need a company to bring you there,
Mm.
a company, a transport company to bring you there. So for example, we can make sure that there is a very good transport company that can take people from the airport
Mm.
safely to bring them to that place. So when you are in that place, you have to find a hotel. You have to find some information, good information about this hotel. But what we can do, we can make sure that people invest in building hotels. People invest in infrastructure that are very valuable for tourism.
Hmm.
And we have to make sure that the tourists have access to a website, for example, to have this information.
Mm.
So what we need to have to bring is the cornerstone, not the whole infrastructure, just
Yes.
the cornerstone. That's because there is people there that really want to invest a bit. Sometimes when you have to invest, for example, if I say, okay, in that uh, particular space of the country, I want to develop the tourism in that place. It's a huge project.
Yes.
So it's not just you build some hotels and that's it. No, it's a huge project, because yeah, you have to make sure that people comes, you have to make sure that people have the information, and you have to make sure that people will eat there. And
Mm.
what you cook there, you have to make sure that these things respect some international food standard. And you have to make sure of a lot of things. So, and as a guy that's you just want to build a hotel,
Hmm.
it's a lot of things to do beside.
Yeah.
And that's why we think what we have to do in that situation is to give the cornerstone. And I think the people have the knowledge, they have the motivation to bring the rest.
So your goal then is to provide a cornerstone in different parts of Haiti that will help to then branch out into all these other sectors like tourism and et cetera, et cetera. What exactly do you think the cornerstone is in Haiti?
Ah,
Or
that's a good question.
if it's because it might be a few things, right? Like I'm sure agricultural element is probably one of them, and there's other parts, but maybe you want to talk a little bit about what you think some of the cornerstone element, because I honestly think in having talked with you about this a few times in the past, it is a really great investment opportunity. You know, like you look at other countries, like you know, even like I mentioned earlier in Thailand or in Mexico or something, and you know, 50 years ago, people started building tourist industries there, and they turned out to be really profitable. And I think sometimes the best way to encourage people to invest is to just, or maybe every time, is to make it, you know, incentive, right? So it is really important to get to that point. But what are some of the ideas, the cornerstone
Yeah,
ideas that you had?
yeah, sure. So as you said, yeah, the food is a very huge cornerstone, because when a tourist come to your country, this tourist has to eat something, a local things. I don't, as an American or a Canadian, and if you come to Haiti, so I won't bring you to a McDonald's. It's
Yeah,
not the, yeah, I will bring you to a restaurant where we serve very thirsty local food.
yeah,
And
way better.
yeah, sure. And yeah, so the agriculture is something we have in mind. And so to give you some information, so we studied something in so we planted like it's 240 banana trees.
Okay,
Yeah, because the banana is really used in the gastronomy, in the Haitian gastronomy.
okay.
And yeah, so you have this, and we also studied uh, so we invest in the
In the some of the
honey
sorry.
honey honey we invest in the honey yeah,
Oh, like with
business.
bees, like honey?
Bees, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, and
the the plants like banana and bee hives.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, beehives, yeah. That's why what we have for the moment. And I have also a construction now, and a building now, so it's not finished yet. It's not finished yet, and I hope maybe before the beginning of the summer I will finish it.
Okay.
And this one will be used to transform, these bananas that we have, and how to. So there was a lot of things also. For example, papaya,
Mhm.
and that we would like to uh, to invest in, and there was a lot of things
And
in the
where
in the
exactly in Haiti are you building this right now?
we are in the south
In the
of
south.
this
Okay.
yeah, in the of the country. And there is also we want to do poultry,
Okay.
and poultry, yeah, the farming in general. And yeah, there was a lot of things,
So
yeah,
your
like
goal
this.
is
And
to kind of build up a more, as you said, a culinary, like a food based keystone part, and then
yeah.
from do you have connections that are working there right now? Like, do you have people working with you that live in Haiti, or are you just hiring out people to build it for you?
Yeah, there was another opportunity. I will talk about it, and after that, and
For sure.
which is a very big problem there. Yeah, I don't have people. I have people working for, of course, but these are people that I know.
Hmm.
It's my uh, yeah,
Cousin?
I have no, I have two friends, and
Friends. Okay.
yeah, and for example, for the building, the, uh, the 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 person who is responsible of this construction
Hmm.
is, yeah, is a friend. He is uh, a builder guy, a
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
building
Yeah.
guy. So
Construction. Yeah.
yeah,
Construction man.
yeah, he is good at it.
Yeah.
And I have also my grandfather, that's who is there, and he was in France, so he knows the reality outside Haiti,
Mm.
and he knows the reality inside Haiti. So he know how to manage. The when for example, when
Ju-
I send money, because
Okay.
yeah.
Just a quick question off that, and then I'll let you get back to what you were saying before. Um, what is the situation like in Haiti in terms of knowledge of outside? Like, do most people in Haiti have a pretty good understanding of what the world outside Haiti is like?
Sorry, I can you repeat, because
Oh,
I think
the
I
connection?
didn't hear what you said. Can you just repeat, please?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we had
Okay.
a problem with the connection. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's
cool.
it's good now. Yeah.
Awesome. I was just asking whether people in Haiti have a good understanding in general of the reality, as you say, outside of Haiti. Um, or if, because I know some countries there isn't a lot of the dissemination as in English of information. It doesn't get down to the people that live there. In your From your perspective, what is it like in Haiti? Do most people have a decent understanding of the outside world, or not so much?
Yeah, they have they know some. Hmm. Actually, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
And for in I think it's in some mind there, they think that's outside Haiti is a paradise. And
Okay.
but inside Haiti is very bad. But when you leave Haiti, everything is okay. But it's not true. But what is why it is exactly a problem? Because that's some guy in the diaspora, when they get back there, sometimes they explain things in a way that's the local guys say that's the paradise. you know
Yeah.
that's
Sounds
very
great.
that's very nice there. So I want to go there also. But the guy won't say, yeah, I have to wake up early, to go to work, and I get back home very late. So yeah,
Mm.
so I have a lot of things to pay, and I have a lot of these information are not given. Just they have a picture that it's a paradise. And that's why a lot of people, when they have a problem, the first um, idea is to leave. Is to leave.
Mm.
To go to another place. That's
Mm.
why I told you that there is opportunities there that people just don't see, and I think my responsibility is to show them these opportunities.
Because you've
And
been outside and you can see that
yeah, yeah,
it's there everything is there's no one place that's perfect and one place that's terrible. Even though, as we said earlier, people love to paint things as this place is dangerous, this place is safe, this
yeah,
place is poor, this place is rich, but it's never like that. It's like within everywhere it contains multitudes, right? Even in the US, which is like where people think is like, the paradise, they want to go there. There's a lot of problems, and in Canada there's lots of problems, in France there's lots of problems. So
yeah, everywhere. But yeah, as you said, it's people. I think it's somewhere in our mind that's we want to think that there is a safe space.
mm,
We need that, we need that hope, thinking
yeah,
that there is a space where am I safe.
it's
So if
like
there is a space,
every religion too kind of says that, right? That's what
yeah, Yeah,
they
there
go
is
towards.
a space which is safe. So uh, to get there, I have to work. I have to work very hard. But if that's every space are very bad, you won't have the motivation.
Yeah.
There is, because at the end there is no hope. You, yeah, basically we as a human being we like hope.
And it's
That's
and
I
it's
think.
useful. I mean, like if you were nihilistic, right? If you thought that, there's no hope, then you wouldn't be trying to do this project right now,
Yeah,
you know?
sure. Yeah, that because
So,
I know. As you said, I know because if I show the in a perfect way to people what we
mm,
have as opportunities, these people will follow, of course,
yeah.
and it's a hub also.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, every innovator who's ever built something that really matters, that really changes the world, does something that's completely stupid. Like everyone looks at it and says, "That's crazy," That's you're hoping, and it's just you won't be able to change people's minds. I think
Yeah,
you have to try even if you never succeed, because trying will make it a little bit better, and then someone else can come and make it a little bit better,
yeah.
slowly.
That's that life is like a competition, athleticism competition,
Hmm.
where you have to bring the how to say that, when you're in athleticism
Oh, the
competition.
the baton.
Yeah, it's a
We,
competition
we
with a
we just use
baton.
the French word.
Okay.
We don't have an English word for that. Yeah.
And you bring it to someone else and go on. And yeah, and sometimes, yeah, when people say, yeah, you how much time did you take to know this, to do this, to have these skills? Yeah, I just said, we need, I know, to have these skills, we need more than 4 billion years, because because during
We're a
four
little short
billion
on
years,
time.
yeah, because in 4 billion years, we had a lot of situation that bring us here today, you know. So all these situation
Mm.
were how to say that? How's all these situation were
It
needed,
Yeah, it's like
to
the
get there. Yeah,
evolutionary perspective, where you think, it's not just me doing one thing in an isolated place right here. No, no, no. I'm part of a bigger organism that is like everyone
yeah,
that's ever lived, and I'm trying to make things better for other people. That's cool.
yeah, sure. That's why I think that uh, this project I have in Haiti, I can't do them alone, and
Hmm.
only yeah, this project will be one day realized if people just choose to embrace that philosophy and decide, yeah, to give it a chance. And
And I
yeah,
think I think that's really cool, and kind of, increasing the exposure that people have to different places and to different ways of life is really really good. There's something great about people that live somewhere for their whole life. You go to a place, and people have this very, solid tradition because they've lived there. um, and I think that's really cool. But I think also, in terms of understanding, that people are more similar, or learning about how we can work together on these big kind of, um, imagination projects, like sending people to space and crazy things like this. It takes, bringing everyone out of poverty into a place where they can also participate on an equal level, right?
yeah, sure. And I think I always think that humanity is a big project, and everyone is involved. And some
Mm,
people don't know that, but they are in a way involved, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, at the end, I think we will all notice that. We will all know that. And yeah, the improvement, the search of the happiness I would say is the fuel of the of this world, of the
Mm,
hope that we have, is the fuel of life, and if you, as we said, yeah, if you don't have any hope, so you won't have any improvement, you won't have any innovations, and yeah, so your world will stay in the same situation, and when bad situation comes, so you are gone. And that's
yeah.
and I think, yeah, so the question is, the subject is more, I think, philosophic, because I think that's what bring us the sapiens species, here now today, not the other species. It's this capability to hope, to dream, to try things, and
Hmm.
to innovate, and
Yeah, it's like what Noah Yuval Harari says in his book about
yeah,
about that as well. It's about our ability to make stories and to recognize
yeah,
these stories and come together and build upon other stories that allows us to move forward. And that's kind of what this podcast is about too, like just the like having people come together and recognize like, oh, we're, as you mentioned, I thought it was super cool, we're all part of this bigger human project, the project of sapiens. And we can make mistakes and we can hurt a lot of people, but those mistakes usually happen when we forget that we're all on the same team, but when we come together and we're more on the same team again, we can do some really cool things.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. And yeah, that's sad. I can't live like 1,000 years. So
Yeah,
I can see the humanity in, yeah, how where exactly we will get, in 1,000. Yeah, that will be cool. And
yeah. Maybe we will improve long or life prolonging kind of medicine, and you'll be able to live many many more years by the time we go.
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. So if the Haiti thing doesn't work out, then you can just spend all your time as a mad scientist trying to,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, if it doesn't work now, so I can do it again,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
I have time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's really, it's such a cool project, and I think just touching back on one thing you said earlier with the governments kind of painting these countries as, Haiti's a dangerous country to visit. I was just looking at the Canadian government equivalent of that, and it's strange because some countries it does do that, where it just says this country is dangerous, but other countries it's very diplomatic, where it will say, this country, this area is not safe, but this area is very safe. And if you're going to go to this area, stay away from these streets or something like that. And it's
Yeah,
like, I think if the, you're fighting an uphill battle, right? Like with this project, but if you can help governments to kind of um, get on board with investments too, or with at very least um, showing people that tourism can be okay in Haiti and other countries that are, maybe there's a few countries in sub-Saharan Africa and definitely in the Middle East that are, said to be very dangerous. But if countries were more balanced and said, this area is dangerous, this area is not as much. And then, you're also trying to build the keystone. So I think combining those two fights is like you said, it's the technical side versus the emotional side too.
yeah, yeah, sure. And I think, yeah, but the work I am doing, I don't know exactly who in the future will use that, because sometimes we use some tools that, that's firstly was uh, designed by someone else,
Mm-hmm.
for other situation, not your situation. It was something very completely different, but
Mm-hmm.
you find a way to use that in your situation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I will have to do that also, and maybe in the future people will do work that are based on what I am doing here. That's why is a competition with buttons,
Yeah.
because we use what people did, and what we did will be used also. So yeah, but as you said, yeah, and for some countries, it's like it's very political, because sometimes they will tell you that's okay, Haiti is very dangerous, but the same government for another country will say, okay, this city is very dangerous, but the other one is safe, But for a particular country, they won't say, okay, this here is very dangerous, but the other part is completely safe. So
Mm.
it's sometimes very political, and
Yeah, and it's like they value some countries as like, oh yeah, lots of our people are going to travel here, so we got to be detailed. And then other countries they just say, nah, we don't have to be detailed. But I mean, how much extra time would it really take to have it? I mean, the the data is pretty widely available around the world. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to be able to synthesize, data that's available from like the UN or the WHO and like, come up with a more detailed map of every country. So I don't know. It just seems like
yeah,
something everyone should just do.
yeah. So let's make my work harder, very, and I have yeah, but I know, the keystone. That's because I think if I want to do a lot of things, so at 50 years old, I will realize that I did nothing very efficient, and I want to be very straightforward, and
Mm.
in my work. So
But I think
because
that in your first few years, trying different things helps you, right? Like you studied engineering and then you went into telecommunications and now you're interested in, and we haven't talked about this yet, but you're interested in studying maybe an MBA in order to work, have a
yeah,
better
sure.
understanding. But I think like, you're right. It's we need to focus on something, and if you're going to do a big project like this, you really have to focus on seeing it through. But at the same time, having all these different pieces of information is super valuable because it will help you become like an indispensable person. Nobody else can do what you're doing because no one else has the same unique combinations of experiences, right?
Yeah, sure. Because the any project you know is unique. Is how to say that? Uh,
Individual, maybe?
and
Or
the, um, ah, I, mm.
you have the
So
French
anyway,
French word?
yeah, and yeah, I'm trying also to find some French word. Oh, so anyway, so what I
Okay.
wanted to say is you don't have a project that is very isolated and from this world, and you have a project that's interact with the world, So you have a project which which interacts with people and with other project. So
Mm,
you have to know a lot of things in order to anticipate. So maybe you don't need to know all things because you are not alone on Earth,
yeah.
but you have to know as much as you can because that will help you to have an efficient thing and also to to give better tools,
And it comes back
to
to what you
people.
said with
And
your job
that
too, right? It comes back to what you said with your job, how,
so
oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can, yeah.
Okay. I just said it comes back to what you said with your job, the difference between your job and school. Or in school people will help you, but in your job you have to figure things out on your own. It's the same, right? In business, the more things you know, the less the more you can get done without needing to bug a bunch of other people who are also busy.
Yeah, sure. That's the thing is sometimes when you, for example, talked to you to people about your project, and when you need a specific skill that you don't have for your project, and what you have to know that in your mind you have a project, you have an idea of your project. When you tell to people this, when you tell your people your project, they will have another architecture of your project. It's not the same architecture, and that can complicate, the collaboration we have with these people, because
Okay.
you are not you are not aligned, and that's why you need more. So the more you know, the better it is. And
Mm.
yeah, if for example, I need something, I need the financial part, the marketing part for my project, and I have to tell people to do this, the financial part and or the marketing part. At the end we will have 3 projects. But if you do it yourself, you still have 1 project. But
Or at
sometimes
very
that
least,
can be
if
good to have 3 projects.
yeah, and at very least, if you have the understanding, you don't need
Yeah,
to do it all yourself, but you can communicate with your other project leaders.
yeah, sure. But I was saying, so sometimes it's good to have 3 projects. Why? Because it's important sometimes, to take the best part of these 3 thoughts, you know,
Mm.
and because sometimes when you are in a bad way, so you don't know that, you don't notice that, and so if someone doesn't tell you that about it, so you don't exactly know. And so you have that's why, for example, developers bring sometimes the codes, to other developers, just to have a look, just to
Hmm.
see if everything is okay. And yeah, sometimes in your work you have to do this, because if you are in a bad way, in a bad path, you have to know that as soon as possible.
Mm.
And but sometimes, it's really bad, because people will people will give you the opinion about your project, especially, people that's only have ideas. You have these guys, they just have ideas, they don't have accomplished things, just ideas every time. And this guy have a lot of opinions about a lot of things, and that can be um, yeah, that can be a bad thing also for your project if you don't pay attention to that kind of details.
For
And that's
people who
why I
don't
think,
do the research, they don't understand like exactly what you're trying to accomplish, and then they just, prematurely come up with an opinion.
yeah. And sometimes I have people I just say, I have a project, and they say, oh, why do you have to you want to have a project? You have to do this first. So the guy didn't hear your project, but he already has an opinion about it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy
it's
sometimes.
like you tell people I'm going to school or this is what I'm studying, everyone has one aunt who's going to be like, "Yo, don't do that," And it's like,
Yeah,
"What do you
yeah,
mean? You
sure.
don't even know why I'm doing it." Yeah.
That's the point, and I think, well, for example, in an MBA, you have these guys that have a way, to see the world that's very helpful sometimes. You have people that has the way to how to solve problem, and which can be a very helpful in when you have a personal project. So what
Mm.
I'm trying to say here is, when you have a project, don't talk to about this project to everyone. So you have a specific people,
Yeah.
to talk to. People that's, they will give you advice, not to discourage you about
And you
your
trust
project.
their advice because you
Yeah,
know that they're going to give you well thought out advice.
yeah, and yeah. So as you said, I would like to do an MBA in France. Or the thing is this that kind of a diploma. You if you want to have the very
Best one.
good, the best one. Yeah, you have to choose the best one.
Yeah.
Because you have MBA everywhere. you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but
But if
there's a couple good ones in France, right? Like I know that Stanford's known for their program, and then there's a few other ones in the US, and in France there's one that's like really famous for their MBA.
yeah, you have INSEAD in France. You have also HEC,
Okay.
and which is a business school, very good.
And Switzerland's good
And
for too, right? They have a couple good programs. Or Sweden.
yeah,
Sweden has a good one too.
yeah, and but most of them are in the USA, and
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, no, that's
Yeah,
you could, yeah,
yeah, most of them are in the US. I mean, there's like every country has like one or two good ones, like England and France and whatever, but Canada, I don't think we have any really. Most people would probably just go to the US.
there is no. I don't know if University of Toronto, if you have, I think you can have some very programs in business,
Yeah,
but
I think
for the
University of
MBA,
Toronto is
I
the
don't
best.
exactly know.
University of Toronto is, I think, the best school in, well, like by like the overall ratings. But but it's not like I don't think it's quite as like the thing is, as you mentioned, when you do it, it's not like one program is just so much better and you're never going to learn anything. It's just that the reputation you get from it is so much different. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the problem.
and it's not, it's not orthodoxal. Uh, how to say that? So you know the ah
It's all good.
I don't I lost my word, yeah, and
I think it's like, when I mean, Warren Buffett he only went to University of Nebraska, and so like some of the greatest, and same with Charlie Munger, like a lot of the best investors and the best business people didn't go to these great schools. But I think if you want to be, you know, Joseph, the guy with the MBA from Stanford, or Joseph, the guy with the MBA from like some community college, it's very different. You don't have less likely that people will want to invest in your project, right?
yeah, that's the thing. In this world, you have to have a name, and without that, you're just someone else. One more one. So one more guy with a project, with an opinion. And
Mm-hmm.
if I say, yeah, you have to try again. You have to, you have to do it every day. You have to be, you have to hard work. You have to work hard. Sorry,
Yeah.
to accomplish your dream. Okay, they will say, okay, that's good, thanks, man. If Mark Zuckerberg say that, people will say that's the guy. Yeah, you're right.
You're
That's
right.
you're right. Oh my god, that's great. Thanks for sharing this with us. So that's the
Yeah.
problem with this world. you know.
But I think also actions do speak louder than, especially with the inflation of degrees right now. I think you're right. Like, obviously, to get started, to get your foot in the door, it might be really helpful to have like a good MBA. But at the end of the day, as you said, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have a degree. Bill Gates doesn't have a degree, because the problem is degrees are very helpful, but when everyone has one, and when it's like, every single person's getting them, and then they're not helping with society as much, then there's more opportunity for people who just actually do a business instead of getting a degree, and they might be the ones that are more successful.
Yeah, you have to be the guy who makes a difference. You know,
Mm,
and you have to bring something more in this world in order to be considered. And the thing is, I am not looking for consideration, and that will be helpful in my project. But what I really need, that's to, is to create things, to bring
mm.
opportunities, and that's
The
yeah,
skills.
that's the skills. That's the main thing I want to have, and yeah, I think I know there is a lot of work to do on that, and
Yeah.
I already started, and
Yeah.
yeah,
But that's an exciting project, and there's I think going to be a lot of uh, interesting things that you'll learn along the way, right? As you navigate it. And at the very least, you're investing, as you said in the beginning, we need more people investing in places like Haiti, and you're investing in Haiti. So at the
yeah,
very least, you're doing that, and if other people do that as well, then that's great, right?
yeah. Because one of the cornerstone also is to preach by example, and when you go there, so you show people that it works. Okay, people will say, okay, it works, but I would like to have this, in order to start, because I just want to start like a $50,000 business.
Mm,
But in order to do that, I have to invest 1 million, because I have to do this, because there is no this, there is no this, there is no this. So once the guy sees that this is already there, he'll just say, "Okay, I'm in. I will come," and that's what we
yeah,
have to do.
yeah, you're right.
The cornerstone.
When the infrastructure is there, then it's the barrier of entry is so much lower because someone just says, "Oh, I want to start this business." Boom, they do it, right? Whereas if you have to
Yeah,
start it and like what you're doing, but you recognize that what you're doing is still a good investment because then if you build the infrastructure, then when other businesses come in, you still have the infrastructure, right? So as long as you can
yeah,
incentivize, it's just a more risky move, right? But it's better in the long run.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. So at the beginning, someone has to take this risk, and
Hmm.
if someone doesn't, nothing will be done. So yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah. So I was thinking, just before
Hmm.
you asked me if I hired someone there to do the
Yeah,
business.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
You expressed some interest with that question. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't, and it's because we had a lot of problems with this, and the philosophy we have here in Western, countries about work, so is really different in Haiti.
Okay.
So sometimes you have to when you expect people to do things like this, they do that in another way. So and that's can sometimes it's very confusing, and because when I work in France, it's like this. When I move to Switzerland, is it's better, but when you see how Haitian, because when I left Haiti, I was only 13, so I didn't have time to experience that. And when you see people working there, so it's completely different,
How
And
how so, how exactly is it different?
yeah, so don't expect someone, for example, in the normal life, for example, in Western country is you have your family, so wife, children, and you have a work, you have a car, and so okay, that's good, but you have to wake up every morning in order to keep this. You know, you wake up every morning, you go to work, you get back, and in Haiti, people want to work when they want. You know,
Oh,
when
okay.
they yeah, when they feel it's yeah, okay, now I have to do this. Yeah, I don't have any money. Okay, I have to do this. I have to make savings. No, it's not important. Yeah, I just have to spend everything I have. Then when I don't have any more, so I will work, and I will to have in order to have some things to spend, and
So it's like
so on.
a philosophical difference of work. Um,
Yeah,
okay.
that's very very different. And
Mm.
sometimes you have people here in so people in Switzerland or France that want to start a business with with a cousin in Haiti or with someone else that they don't really know, and they don't understand why. For example, if they send like 10,000 dollars to the person. So they say, okay, so the business is going on. So yeah, everything is okay, and let's wait for the benefits. And sometimes, the people that are is in who is in charge of the business
Hmm.
um, doesn't have any basic business skills, and
Okay. So they don't
and
know that
also
like what's happening in Haiti exactly. They don't know exactly how the money's being used, maybe?
yeah, and sometimes also the people who is in Haiti, they don't have the skills how to manage a business,
Mm.
and because yeah, there is the money, they think they know, but they just don't know. For example, in Haiti, and when someone um, when someone has a business, they don't have a salary.
Okay.
I mean, they're not getting paid every month. So every time they need something, just take in the business and they do whatever they want with the money. And if, for example, the guy is selling food,
Mm.
and for example, rice, and the person want to cook rice tonight, okay, he will say, okay, I will take inside to cook my rice, but
Hmm.
this person won't take an account that they take the rice, so there is less rice to uh, to sell, and
Okay.
and and sometimes at the end of the month, so there is no business anymore. So and people are asking themselves, what happened? That's normal because
Oh
every
wow.
time you need it, yeah, every time you need
So
it,
so when you're working on starting a business there, you have to think about some of these cultural
yeah,
difference and philosophical differences,
yeah,
and that aren't always like um yeah, I mean it's challenging because you I mean maybe you just want to put the work ethic of the Western countries, as you say, but then maybe that's not the best move either. I don't know, right? Like it's
yeah.
challenging.
That's yeah. There is another opportunity there also. It's yeah. I see challenge as business opportunities. So if there is a challenge, of course there is a business opportunities.
I love that. That's a
Um,
great view. Really.
yeah, sure. And the thing is, and I mean, people that are in the diaspora that want to to invest, and they're afraid to do that because they know that they won't have a good investment because the guy that will manage that doesn't have the skills for that.
Mm.
So that's where we came. We come to bring this to give sorry this to give a tools that will help them, you know, um, that will help them doing this investment. For example, a simple example: if someone want to invest in the food, so what we can say to these people? Okay, so we are in we are a company,
Hmm.
so we own a lot of land, and we invest in bananas, we invest in papaya, we invest in rice, we invest in corns,
Hmm.
we invest in a lot of things. So if you want to invest in something, so in any of these one, so
Mm.
you can do that through us. So just don't worry. If you have like 20K to invest, just give us. So you will have. So yeah, of course you will have. Um, so you will have a share. Just take a share in the
So
company.
so it's a more stable way of investing
Yeah.
because
So we will take
because
a.
because you have the work ethic and you're running out of Paris or out of Europe or whatever, and so they maybe trust a little bit more than other projects that are run in
Yeah.
Haiti.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah. So for example, by showing that the diplomas you have and the accomplishment you have, so
Ah, that makes a
and
lot of
people,
sense.
yeah, that's people you say, okay, that's someone we can trust. Okay, so
So that's
you
where the
say,
big difference between having like a Harvard, Stanford degree and showing it to them, and then like some other university they've never heard of.
yeah, sure, yeah, of course.
Mm,
So there was a difference, of course.
that
And
makes sense.
well, yeah, and what, for example, for example, if you just have a guy that's want to invest like $2,000, so it's nothing, for that kind of investment.
Mm,
And but the thing is, it's depend how you manage it. So of course you will manage it in a way that's to have like 1,000 guys more, and in order to have like instead of 200 to 2,000, sorry, $2,000, yeah, you manage to have 2 millions or like 20 millions. It's pretty easy after that when you show people examples that have worked. And
mm.
that's yeah, I think because the difficult part is the beginning. That's why I think I have to invest myself in that. But once it's okay, yeah, you just have to, you just have to find 20 guys that will give you each 2,000 euros. That's okay. That will be a very big amount of money. That's what you can use to improve the business. And of course other people will see this improvement, and of course they will come. And that's where you come with your, so once the food part is okay, so now you can say, okay, for those who manage, who would like to create a transport company, for example, you do the same thing, the same things, and so on. And yeah.
So yeah, and as soon as you start and you get the ball rolling, then then other people can look at the examples and join in afterwards because um, it's just like the basic model of business, right? Like the more conservative, fiscally conservative people are not going to invest until they see that something is working. And so
Yeah.
you're just building that project, and once you get to that point, um, which hopefully won't take too long. I mean, it seems like you're on a good trajectory already. Um, I can definitely see how that could send a lot of really positive ripples into other sectors in the area, and then other means of investment. And yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I also keep in mind. That's there is people also that invest in this field also in Haiti, for example, the agricultural thing
Mm-hmm.
field. And but these people don't have enough financial resources. And that can be also a field, financing people. And that can
Mm.
be also a field that's where we can work. And yeah, every time I I wake up, so I find a lot of things that can be done. And
Yeah,
because in this land, in the Haiti land, it's a virgin land, business
it's
speaking.
not very developed.
Yeah, so there was a lot of things that can be done there.
And
So
you're probably going to bring money from outside first, and then the goal is to cause within Haiti investments, right?
yeah, I think inside the country, I think we have enough money.
Okay.
And so I think to
So
start,
the goal is mostly just inside the country investments then.
yeah. And
That's
for
yeah,
example,
because then you create the economy and it's more self-reliant, it's building on
yeah,
itself.
sure. Because don't forget that the thing is to give the cornerstones. Once you give these things, of course, people will create things. People will have ideas, And when I say people, I'm not talking about 1,000 people. I'm talking about 1 million or 5 million people that will follow. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can say, okay, so I need 5 years for this to be efficient enough. But
Mm.
maybe like 5 months later, that will be okay. So just I mean, if people follow, of course, if you do that if you start in the proper way, of course, people, and sometimes people just will see that you just have the idea, you just have the motivation to do
Mm.
that, and they will follow you, even if nothing is done yet. They will follow you because they see someone that want to change things, and they also want to change things, and of course they will follow. Yeah.
And that's where the emotional side comes in, right? Like you mentioned in the beginning, there's the technical side of understanding, build the keystones, and the emotional side of saying, hey, hope, and I'm passionate about this. And if I show you that this is something that actually we can work towards, maybe you're also a dreamer, also someone who will hope and help work towards it with me.
Yeah, sure. You have to show people what they will have at the end, and of course they will follow. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I've kept you for a long enough, but I just have one last question.
Yeah.
That I've been asking everyone in the podcasts, and that is, if you could tell one story or spread one message that would really get through all the noise and connect with people, what would that be?
Um, I think we have. I don't know if you know the word cacophony.
Yeah, cacophony. Yeah.
Yeah, we are living in a cacophony world, and because every people try to play the part of the job, because there is, as I said, there is the world is one project. There is one project is the human being project,
Mhm.
and in this project, everyone is giving his thoughts, and no one is listening to another one, and when I started my work, I had this behavior where I I didn't pay attention to what people said, and usually when I did that, I failed, because people that were there before me, I didn't pay attention to the advice in some points, and
Mm.
once I really take the time to listen, and then to say what I think about why I have what I listened before, and yeah, the success started to come. And I think in this project we have to be in a symphony, in a symphonic way.
Yeah.
This needs to be a symphony, not a cacophony. And in a symphony,
It needs to be
um,
in line. Everyone's
voilà.
playing together.
Yeah, and I think we
Mm.
have to start um, listening to each other, and
Mm.
yeah, it's easy to say, and it's not easy to um, to practice, because we have been educated in that way, to give your to not paying attention to other people,
Yeah.
to be uh,
Kind of in your indoctrinated, I guess, like thinking your own way only,
yeah,
and like
thinking
ignore everyone who has a different opinion.
yeah, being an individualist, and we have been educated that way. But I think that's it's time to wake up and thinking as one, and thinking as one is first listening people. We see that's cacophony today, with the coronavirus situation, in for example, in France, that's the government will say something, and the scientist will say something, and that's someone who is not a caregiver will say another things as if he knows exactly what's going on. you know
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Every,
same. That's the same in Canada. Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes.
that's the same situation everywhere. And I
Yeah,
think that's, for example, this virus normally had to stop very rapidly, but because of this cacophony, we are still in this situation. And for the
yeah,
future, we will have a bigger challenge, and this bigger challenge need bigger management skills. The first one is to listen to each other. That's my last sentence. And yeah.
I love it. That's an amazing message. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and for the insight into this really exciting project. I think I'm super interested to see where it goes, and hopefully, in some way, shape, or form, I'll be able to be involved with some aspects of it. But yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back sometime soon. All right,
Okay, so thanks for having me, and it was a pleasure to talk to you as usual. And
absolutely.
Hey guys, I hope that you enjoyed this episode and got some value out of it. Episode 11 will be coming soon, so be sure to stay tuned for that one. Have a good one.